What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. Welcome to my DFS Daily Fantasy Football Picks for Week 2. If you saw last week's video, we killed it. And thank you for all the comments, the emails. You guys went and found my email and the Twitter comments, the YouTube comments. It was just overwhelming. I'm grateful. And, you know, I could be selling these picks. They're quality picks. I take my time with them. I personally believe in them. I personally play my picks. But all I ask in return is that you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, and enjoy. Thank you so much. Last week we had a great week, and I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. It's not gonna be like that every week. Now I have some great picks for this week. Gonna be doing a lot of cash games. I have some good tournament picks as well, but gonna be doing more cash games than usual. And in these DFS picks videos that I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna usually start out by talking about some general tips and then just get right into the video. So I'll probably provide one general tip about DFS strategy and then go straight into the picks. In this video, one general tip that we'll be using right now on this video is that I like to pick a cheap kicker and a cheap defense first. That helps me kind of see the average salary remaining, gives you a better idea. It's easier to compute. So what I usually do is pick the absolute cheapest kicker that I can live with. Someone that's not completely terrible and that's actually starting, that's actually gonna play. So I pick a cheap kicker, and I'm gonna actually pick, I find the cheapest defense that I can live with as well. So what's the biggest bargain defense? So the absolute cheapest kicker that I can live with and the absolute cheapest defense I can live with. Let's pick those two first. I usually do that when I do my lineups, and we're gonna do it on these picks. Let's look at defenses. The cheapest defense I would pick that I could live with is the Chiefs D. There's a little bit of wind that game, maybe a little bit of rain that game. I'm talking about the Thursday night game. I'm recording this before the game. May not be able to upload it in time. But that's the defense that I could live with. Peyton Manning's getting old. The Broncos just a little banged up. And, you know, I think it's a good buy. It's a good upside pick. Definitely more of a tournament pick than a cash game pick. Peyton Manning still has his brain. He's still really smart. One of the smartest QBs to ever play the game, hands down. So I'm not going to have too much faith in the Chiefs D, but they do have a lot of potential. They're only 4,400. And the next best defense is the Texans D. They're a great buy at 4,600. The Rams D at 4,900 is a good buy. And the Ravens D, if you want to spend a little, I think they're going to crush the Raiders, so that's a great buy. And I'd have to say the best defense this week is the Dolphins D going against the Jaguars. I don't think the Jaguars will be able to do anything. So if you have a bunch of money left over, 5,100, I think it's worth taking the Dolphins defense in cash and tournament games, because some tournaments, some people may shy away from spending the most money on a defense. They're the most expensive defense this week. My number one kicker I'm going to pick in most of my lineups is the Saints kicker, Zach Hawker. He's minimum salary. In some tournaments, I may switch and pick Andrew Franks. I don't think a lot of people are going to be picking the Dolphins kicker. Now, that should be not too high of a scoring game, and the Dolphins, why not settle for field goals? You know you're going to win, so just get 3 field goals in and you should be able to win. They'll probably score a touchdown too. So I think Andrew Franks is a nice sneaky kicker to start. He's also minimum salary. Josh Brown, another minimum salary kicker that I'm probably not going to pick, but he's out there if you want to vary your lineups a little bit. Cody Parkey didn't do so great last week, but I have him as a good kicker. I think that's a good kicker that some people may shy away from that played last week. He's 5,000. And my number one kicker this week is Justin Tucker. So if I have a bunch of money left over, I'm spending it on Justin Tucker. And as you know, I don't like spending money on kickers off the bat. But if I do have a few $100s left over, I would invest it in Justin Tucker. Okay, let's go back up to the top of the lineup. That's how I like to do it. Pick the kickers' defenses first. Now we see our average salary. Gives us a better idea of what we have left to spend. My two favorite quarterbacks this week is Sam Bradford and Matt Ryan. I think they're priced okay. Matt Ryan seems expensive, but he's worth the price in cash games. Sam Bradford I'd play in cash games as well. Now other options are Carson Palmer and Drew Brees. Drew Brees is very, very expensive, but he is worth it in cash games. You're just not going to be able to spend up on other players. You're going to have to save money on, let's say, wide receivers and whatnot. My number one quarterback for tournament play, and keep in mind, tournament cash is different. For tournaments, we like to go boom or bust. Just go all out, high risk lineup. Now in tournaments, it's okay to put one or two off the wall creative picks that nobody else may choose. That's okay. You don't want a bunch of those, but one or two is okay. Jameis Winston, that's one guy. I think people will shy away from him after they've seen him play week 1. But I think Mike Evans is going to play. They're going to be behind. And if a miracle happens and that Bucs O-line plays not terrible like they did the first week, I think Jameis Winston has the potential to throw 3 or more touchdowns. He could also fail, so that's why I like him in tournaments. Other QBs to consider in tournaments are Foles, Tyrod Taylor, and Kaepernick, and I would stack, especially Kaepernick and Tyrod Taylor. I would stack with players like Torrey Smith. You know, he's got that big playability, that deep threat. And Tyrod Taylor, I would stack with Charles Clay. I see him as a decent red zone threat. Now, these are really high-risk players, and probably not going to pick them. I'm going with Jameis Winston in my tournament. For running backs, I like Mark Ingram if you're trying to spend money. Justin Forsett is also a decent play. He's going against the Raiders. Now, who I really like, and I'm probably going to put these guys in a lot of my lineups, is Carlos Hyde. He is priced right. Now, the Vegas line has the Niners losing by a ton of points. And I don't see that happening. Steelers are going to score, but Steelers won't be able to stop anybody. They won't be able to stop the Niners, and I don't think they'll be able to stop Carlos Hyde. I think the Niners have a smart game plan this year, not like last year, and I love Carlos Hyde. And, of course, Chris Ivory. How could you not have this guy in your lineup? He's a great play. He's still a great buy. His price went up from last week, but not by much. He's still a great play going up against the Colts. LeSean McCoy recently had to leave practice Thursday, so I think Carlos Williams is a great RB to pick up if you're trying to save money, but only if LeSean McCoy isn't playing. You know, even if LeSean McCoy is playing, he should be limited. I just don't have enough information right now. I'm recording the video on Thursday, so check on Friday, check on Saturday, see what the situation is. It looks like LeSean McCoy may not even play, but I'm pretty sure he will be limited, and Carlos Williams is a great start for a cheap buy, only $4,700. Bishop Sankey is another option. I likely won't be putting him in my lineups, but for tournaments, you could go with Alfred Blue. Buck Allen is a great pick for tournament games, especially if Taliaferro is out. Now, Taliaferro is playing, and he seems healthy. Then that's not really a good start. And I really like Kyrie Robinson as a good pick in tournament games. If he can sneak in and get at least 1 touchdown against the Bucs, you know that's very likely, and that's going to be a great tournament play. Not a lot of people will pick him. For wide receivers, Julio Jones, he's hurt, but he's going to probably make a lot of my lineups again. I'm going to keep close tabs on his injury, though. But I think he'll have a great game going up against the Giants. Jordan Matthews is a decent pick. Steve Smith is a decent pick going against the Raiders. I really like, for cash games, I really like Cole Beasley. Now, I have him in cash games because he's not a huge red zone threat. He's a short guy. But Cole Beasley, man, I think he's going to get a lot of targets, and he is really good. You're going to see people flock and get Terrence Williams in season-long leagues and in DFS. I like Cole Beasley a lot. I'm going to have him in some of my cash lineups. Another guy I like is for a wide receiver for tournament and cash games is James Jones. I don't think the Seahawks are going to really keep Aaron Rodgers in check. They're going to try, and I think James Jones is going to have a decent game. Remember, the Seahawks are traveling. They're playing in Green Bay. And my favorite pick for wide receiver, if you're trying to save money, is Brandon Coleman. I'm going to have Antonio Brown in a lot of my lineups. He's the wide receiver who has a high ceiling and a high floor. You know he's going to get at least 5 receptions. You know he's going to have a decent game. For a wide receiver, you're pretty confident in Antonio Brown. And for tournament picks, I like Odell Beckham Jr. He didn't have a great game week 1, but he's a pretty good pick. I think a little bit less people will pick him. I'm sure a ton of people picked him in week 1. Calvin Johnson, very risky pick. That's a good tournament pick. And if you want a really crazy one for $4,500, you can go with the Cowboys wide receiver Devin Street. For tight ends, I'm going with Gronk and Austin Seferian-Jenkins in just about every lineup. Austin Seferian-Jenkins is way underpriced. He's only $4,500. If you want to vary your lineup even more, I got Jordan Reed. And if you want another crazy pick for tournaments, I got Scott Chandler, who may be able to sneak in 1 touchdown. And that's all the time we have for this week. Make sure you guys follow the link below. Check out FanDuel. This week I'm going to be doing a lot of $1 cash games. I usually do cash games every week, but this week I'm going to be doing even more. I really like the cash games. They also have tournaments, so you can enter for a low buy-in and win a huge prize if you guys like. So go ahead and click on that link, check it out, and make sure you guys use promo code FANTASYCOUCH. Follow that link, use the promo code, and they'll match your deposit up to $200. So check that out. If you haven't already, make sure you guys watch my DFS Daily Fantasy Football Strategy video. It is a must watch. It's going to teach you a bunch of tips and help you create your own DFS lineups, give you the edge so you'll win every week. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be coming out with weekly DFS picks for football, of course, and also the weekly waiver wire for season-long leagues. I'll see you guys on the next video.